All right, so now let's go ahead and look at the IXLs that are for this unit of our quadratics. So again, BB1 and 2 were all about the identifying the characteristics and working with the characteristics of a quadratic such as axis of symmetry, domain and range, how to find the vertex, whether the vertex was a minimum or a maximum, and those kinds of things. Then you got to BB3 and 4, and that was all about transformations, being able to write the equation of a quadratic in vertex form, where we had y is equal to a multiplied by x minus h plus k, where h and k were the vertex. Now we're going to start solving for those zeros, roots, solutions, x-intercepts. So that's where BB5 picks up. So we're going to solve a quadratic equation using square roots. Here we have number 1 is y squared is equal to 49. Well, you're going to take the square root of both sides. And remember, when you take the square root, it's always plus or minus whatever that square root is. So we would put 7 or negative 7. Number 2, g squared is equal to 144. Take the square root of both sides. So we have g is equal to plus or minus 12. Put in 12, negative 12. Now, as you can see, I've done a couple. We've got something that says, I'm going to make it as number 3, but really it's number 5, I think, or 4, or whatever. V squared minus 9 equals 0. Now, notice the ones before it, when we took the square root, the constant value was already on the other side of the equal sign. You always have to make sure that your constant value is on the other side of the equal sign where the 0 is, because you're taking the square root of both sides of the equal sign. So we're going to add 9 to both sides of the equal sign, and we've got v squared is equal to 9. Now we can follow our process. V is equal to plus or minus 3. As you can tell, I'm kind of skipping around here because I want to make sure that I hit everything that you might see. So this one, we've got k squared minus 85 is equal to 59. Again, we want to make sure that the k squared is isolated and that the numbers are on the other side of the equal sign. So I'm going to add 85 to both sides of the equal sign. And I've got k squared is equal to 144. Now we follow our process. Take the square root of both sides, and we have k is equal to plus or minus 12. Now, on the questions that you see like this, I wanted to give you some notes to kind of guide you. This is like when we were talking about the discriminant, and the discriminant told us how many roots there were. So if you got a negative under the square root sign, you knew there was no real solutions. If you got a 0 after you took, after you calculated, so if b squared minus whatever equals 0, then you know you had one solution. If b squared minus 4ac was a positive number, you knew you had 2 solutions. This follows that same thinking. So if x squared is positive, you have 2 solutions. In other words, you say y squared is equal to, and it's a positive number, 2 solutions. If x, I said y, I meant x. If x squared is equal to 0, then you have 1 solution. If x squared is negative, you have no real solutions. There are solutions, they just don't cross the x-axis. That's what that means. And again, that's leading into algebra 2. So here we have y squared plus 62 is equal to 62. We're going to subtract 62 from both sides of the equation, and we get y squared is equal to 0. Well, we don't have to take the square root. We know y is equal to 0, so we have one real solution. This one, t squared is equal to negative 10. Well, you can't technically take the square root of a negative number. So this would be no real solution. And Algebra 2 will show you how to do it. Again, it's called imaginary numbers. So that's how you do these. I'm going to go up a few more to see if there's anything that changes. I'll be back. All right, once I passed 80, then we started getting a little bit more, not complicated. Complicated is certainly not another word. It's just more involved. But you can do these because we did these in our notes. So this is just a reminder. So we have 9u squared minus 81 equals 0. Well, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put my 81 on the other side of the equal sign. So I have 9u squared is equal to 81. Then I'm going to divide by 9 because I want to take the square root of u squared, not take the square root of 9u squared. So then I'm left with u squared is equal to 9. Then follow your process. Square root both sides and you get u is equal to plus or minus 3. The next problem I found was 100v squared plus 5 equals 69. Notice the range that I am in. So, you know, you're shooting for mastery. So the problems are going to get more involved as you go higher. Nothing really changes except that we have to make sure that we get v squared alone. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to subtract 5 from both sides of the equation. I had 100 v squared equals 64. Then I'm going to divide by 100 on both sides of the equation, and I've got v squared is equal to 64 over 100. Well, guys, you've done this before. You take the square root of that side, take the square root of the whole fraction. So we've got v is equal to 8 over 10, but it says here, write your answers as integers or proper or improper fractions in simplest form. So that means that this is really going to be, nope, we're going to leave it like that. I'll know if I'm right in a minute because I'm thinking that I could reduce this to 4/5, but that wouldn't, 4/5 wouldn't give me the square that I need. So let's see. I should have reduced it. So now we know. I read it, reduce it in simplest form, and that's what I should have done. Didn't do it. All right. So okay, well, we got it now. So I could have divided this by 2. Divided by 2 is 4 over 5. Yay, Ms. Clark. Got it. All right, here's a question that we would get as we move into the 90s realm. How many real solutions does the equation have? So 5t squared equals 0. Remember, we want the t squared by itself. So we would say, okay, 5t squared equals 0. Divide both sides by 5. T squared is equal to 0. And we know if whatever our variable squared is equal to 0, then we have one real solution. So those are all the ones that I'm going to go through. If you have any questions, please visit me for Power Hour on Mondays from 12:15 to 1:30. Tutoring Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday from 4:30 to 6:30 in the evening. Or you can attend Math World at any time that you need help. Thanks. Have a good day.